Let's begin by offering our respects to our founder Acharya and preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dina Bandhu, Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpa Taruvyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly Bhagavad Gita classes. We have with us here Aunty Nita, Devina, Disha Melvani, Divya Budrani, Harman Bakshani, Karuna Jadwani, Lavina, Manju, Neha Chatlani. Then we have Rajiv Kumar, Ritu Lalwani. We have Shilpa, who's joining us for the first time. And we have Shivani. Okay, so as we discussed previously that today we will have a recap of what we have studied so far. And we'll also see the yoga ladder for a better understanding before we proceed to the next section of the Bhagavad Gita. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we have completed the first 6 chapters. So we have completed the Jnana section of the Bhagavad Gita, which means we have finished 1/3 of our syllabus. We have another 2/3 to go. Does anybody have any doubt, or we begin today's recap class? Okay, so We will start first with the yoga ladder, and then we will see the chapter summaries. So as we discussed, we have seen this yoga ladder in our classes before. The yoga ladder begins at Karma Kanda. Before Karma Kanda, what most people follow is actually a sinful life, not following any rules and regulations, not following the regulative principles as laid down by the Shastra, and living like an animal. Because if one is living without any rules and regulations, there are no restrictions, only sense enjoyment as per what one likes. If one is just doing what one likes to do, then one is living like an animal. That is animal propensity. Human beings means we live under regulated principles. If we do not follow regulated principles, then although we are in the body of a human being, but we are living in the animalistic conception of life. So only when we follow the rules and regulations are we actually human beings in the true sense. So that is not a part of the yoga ladder, sinful life. Now, after that, we have karma kanda. Now, what is karma kanda? In karma kanda also, there is sense gratification. We want to gratify the senses, but we gratify the senses within the framework of Shastra. So my goal is still to gratify my senses, but to gratify the senses, I'm not indulging in any sinful activity. I'm not indulging in meat eating, intoxication, illicit relationships, or gambling. So, for example, as we discussed, the Vedas are divided into 3 sections. So the first section of the Vedas is called as the Karma Kanda section, and that is the major part of the Vedas actually. A huge chunk of the Vedas is dedicated to Karma Kanda. What is Karma Kanda? If you want something, then you do this particular yagya or you do this particular sacrifice and your desire will be fulfilled. If you want a good son, if you want a good job, or you want to have good relationships or anything like that. So you do this particular yagya and your desire can be fulfilled. So the goal is my own sense gratification. I want to have a child, or I want to have a good job, or I want material prosperity. Therefore, I'm indulging in the yagya that are prescribed in the Vedas, that are prescribed in the Shastra. But still the goal is my own sense gratification. Okay, so that is karma kanda. So regulated sense gratification. Then when one engages in regulated sense gratification, one develops more faith in the Shastra. Yes, because you see that Shastra prescribes you do this particular yagya to get this particular desire of yours fulfilled. So one places more faith in the Shastra. And also when we do karma kanda, we call the brahmanas home, or we call the devotees home who do the ceremonies. And as we associate with them, as they come home and they do the yagyas, they also give us some knowledge. They tell us that, yes, it's very nice that you're doing the yagyas, which is within the framework of Shastra, but there is a goal higher than this. There is something better than this. So like this, slowly, one proceeds from the karma kanda level to the next level, which is sakama karma yoga. Now in sakama karma yoga, there is a tinge of bhakti. There is some element of bhakti that is added. Some desire is there to connect with the Lord. That's why we have this term yoga. Yoga means to unite, to connect with the Lord. Now in Karma Kanda, there is no word called yoga. I mean, there is no word called Karma Kanda yoga, because in Karma Kanda, the whole goal is my own sense gratification. Of course, within the framework of Shastra. But there is no desire to connect with the Lord. Therefore, there is no word yoga in Karma Kanda. But here, as soon as we come to Sakama Karma Yoga, there is some desire, some tinge of bhakti is there. Now, what happens in Sakama Karma Yoga? In Karma Yoga, in Sakama Karma Yoga, we are doing also prescribed duties, but still we are not able to completely give up the desire for sense gratification. So one is still attached to the fruits of work. Although some desire is there to give up the fruits, but one is not, it cannot happen so soon, not so fast. So still there is a desire to gratify the senses. There is some attachment to the fruits of work. And also there is attachment to the work itself. Now, as one engages in Sakama Karma Yoga, then there is more purification, there is more faith in the Shastra, there is more association with Brahmanas, and one proceeds to the next level called as Nishkama Karma Yoga. See, because when one gets the fruits of labor, one realizes with time that all these fruits or all these results that I'm getting because of my labor is actually not keeping me happy. It's not giving me complete happiness. Even if we go to heavenly planets, if we do very nice karma, punya karmas, and we go to the heavenly planets, we enjoy in heaven. But the point is that even in heaven, the time period of enjoyment is going to come to an end at some point, because even heaven is still the material world. And with the Brahmanas association also, the Brahmanas tell us that, oh yes, in heaven you can enjoy sense gratification for an extended periods of time, thousands and thousands of years you can enjoy in the heavenly planets. But even in heaven there is anxiety. Even Lord Indra faces anxiety. He is the king of heaven, right? Lord Indra. But even he faces anxiety that he will be attacked, his heaven will be taken over by the demons, or his position will be lost as the king of heaven. So even Indra in heavenly planets is undergoing anxiety. So any place in the material world within the 14 planet systems, irrespective of whether it is the highest planet or Swarga Loka or the lowest planet or earthly planet, they are all places of anxiety. So as one engages in Nishkama, as one goes to Nishkama Karma Yoga, one is now detached from the fruits of work, but still there is attachment to work itself. So one doesn't care for the results of the work, but one wants to work in a particular way. One wants to unite with the Lord. One wants to engage in yoga. So the word yoga is here also, but one wants to serve in a particular way. Now, let's say, for example, in a temple, somebody has joined the temple full time and now is asking for some services. So the temple president says, okay, what service would you like to do? So the person says, I would like to be in charge of the restaurant within the temple. He may say like that. But I don't want to be in charge of the cleaning department in the temple. So he wants to serve in a particular way. Okay, how much remuneration do you need? Then the person may say, oh, I don't care. Whatever you give me, it's okay. I'm not worried about the remuneration, but I want to be serving only in this particular department. So that is Nishkama Karma Yoga, detached from the fruits of work, but attached to work itself. Now, as one engages in Nishkama Karma Yoga, then one gets more knowledge, one gets more detachment. See, as you go higher in this yoga ladder, two things are increasing. What is that? One is detachment and two is knowledge. Okay, so as we go from the lower rung to the higher rung, knowledge and detachment are increasing. Now, as he engages in Nishkama Karma Yoga and he is doing it without attachment to the fruits of the work, he then realizes that there is more faith in Shastra. Now he wants to engage in a very intensive study of the Shastra. Now he develops so much detachment that he is ready to walk out of home. So that is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, the practitioner, he leaves home and he engages in very intensive study of the Shastra. And he undergoes tapasya. Living in the forest is not easy. So there he engages in tapasya. And so therefore this stage is called Jnana Yoga. In the Jnana Yoga, if one is successful in Jnana Yoga, then he realizes the Brahman feature of the Lord. So we have discussed in our classes how the absolute truth is realized in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So these are three aspects of the same Lord. What is the Brahman effulgence? Brahman effulgence is nothing but the light that is emanating from the body of Krishna. So a Jnana yogi, he believes and he has faith in the Brahman effulgence. His understanding is that the Lord is light. So his desire is to merge with that Brahman effulgence. So if a Jnana yogi is successful, after the speculative study and the intensive study, He engages in tapasya and he also does meditation, and he meditates on the Brahman effulgence. And if he is successful, then he can merge into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. Now, what happens when one merges into the Brahman effulgence? Because the soul never dies, the soul never ceases to exist. The soul always maintains its individuality. So now the living entity is merged into the Brahman effulgence, or in other words, he is existing in the Brahman effulgence, but his individuality is not lost. He is existing there, right? So what does he get in that Brahman effulgence? He experiences a lot of peace, right? He's very, very peaceful because there is no anxiety. But he gets bored at some point because he is only existing in that light and there is nothing to do. But the soul by nature is active. Krishna explains in the second chapter. Soul by nature is active. So we need some sense engagement. We need something to do. So therefore, now the practitioner in the light, he is very, very peaceful, but he has got bored, and therefore now he falls down again. Now, after coming back again, he says that no, I don't want to go to the Brahman effulgence. I want to realize the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So, out of the three features, Brahman effulgence we discussed. Paramatma feature is what? To realize that feature of the Lord as the super soul. The Lord is residing in the heart of every living entity, right from the tiny ant up to Lord Brahma. So now an Ashtanga yogi, he wants to see the Paramatma. He wants to realize the Paramatma feature of the Lord. He wants to realize the super soul. So now in Ashtanga Yoga, the first thing in Ashtanga Yoga is mind control is very, very important. And he engages in those 8 steps. Ashta means 8. So Ashtanga Yoga has 8 steps, starting from Yama and Niyama, which is rules and regulations. And the highest stage is the Samadhi stage. Now he engages in this 8-fold process, and he is meditating on the super soul within the heart. Jnana yogi meditates on the Brahman effulgence, but an Ashtanga yogi is meditating on the super soul. Now, if he is successful in this Ashtanga yoga process, then he can realize the Paramatma feature. So he can see the beautiful form of the Lord. Now the Lord is very, very beautiful, stunningly beautiful. And when he sees this beautiful form of the Lord, now the desire is, I want to serve this beautiful personality. Because in Paramatma realization, you can only see, you can have the darshan of the Lord, but you cannot actively engage in service. But when you see this most beautiful personality, who can be more beautiful than God? No. So now there is hankering to have personal association with that most beautiful Lord. So when it comes to serving the Lord, then therefore now that takes him to the next stage, which is the Bhakti Yoga rung on this yoga ladder. In Bhakti Yoga, one engages in loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. See, whenever there is devotion means service. If you see across all the books and purports and translations that Srila Prabhupada has written, he does not translate the word bhakti as devotion. He will translate the word bhakti as devotional service. Because wherever there is devotion, there has to be service. There cannot be devotion without service. Just like how there cannot be love without service. Somebody may say, I love my husband very much. I love my children very much. Or I love my wife very much. But if the husband is not doing the service, or if he's not doing that which requires him to take care of the family, or if the wife is not doing that which is required to take care of the husband or to take care of the child, then how can there be love? So love means to serve. So devotion, wherever there is devotion, there has to be service. And that service is loving devotional service, not that one is doing the service out of one is getting irritated and one is not lovingly doing it and just doing it for the sake of doing it because one has to do it. No, that's not the attitude. With love, right? So loving devotional service, that is Bhakti Yoga. So like this, this is the extended yoga ladder, how a practitioner goes from Karma Kanda to Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, one realizes the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. Bhagavan feature of the Lord means to realize the Lord as a person. As a person. God is a person like you and me, but he is the supreme person. We are Purushas, we are persons, but he is Purushottama. He is the supreme person. So therefore, in Bhakti Yoga, the practitioner realizes the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. Is it clear so far?
Sanam? Oh. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Means how much is the difference between Paramatma and Bhagavan? Oh.
How much, matlab?
Means what is the difference between Paramatma and Bhagavan? Like you said, no, Brahman, Paramatma, and then comes Bhagavan.
So the difference between Paramatma and Bhagavan is, see, the Paramatma is there in the heart of every living entity in the four-handed form, and he's there to guide us from within. But we cannot serve, we cannot actively engage in seva. So when and the Bhagavan feature of the Lord, you can serve the Lord. You can offer him flowers. You can, or if we have the deity, even the deity worship is not different from worshipping the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. So we can bathe the deity. We can wear beautiful clothes to the deity. In the spiritual world, the same thing is going on. Somebody is offering flowers. Somebody is worshipping him by reciting very beautiful shlokas, right? Somebody is decorating the Lord. Like that, there is active seva, there is active service, but that is not possible with the Paramatma.
But so we mean to say in Bhakti Yoga only we can reach, only in Bhakti Yoga we will be reaching to Bhagwan.
Yes,
And
exactly.
up to Ashtanga Yoga we can reach up to Paramatma.
Yes, you can see the Paramatma. That's all.
Okay.
See, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is this explanation of Narada Muni's previous lifetime. Very, very interesting. Narada Muni in his previous life was Narada. He was the son of a maidservant. He was not the great sage Narada Muni, right? He was the son of a maidservant. And his father had passed away very early. And the mother used to wash and she used to work as a maidservant. And the Brahmanas would visit that place sometimes, and she would serve the Brahmanas and she would wash the vessels of the Brahmanas. And Narada, the small child Narada, he would eat the remnants of those Brahmanas. And those Brahmanas also would treat him with a lot of love and affection, and they would give him some knowledge. And so, therefore, that child Narada got association of these devotees. And then the mother also passed away. Even the mother passed away, and the child Narada was now completely alone, right? Often. But because he had got the association of those devotees, he meditated on the Paramatma, and then he saw, the child Narada saw the Paramatma. Then the Paramatma disappears because he appears in front of him, he can see him, and then the Lord disappears. And then Narada is saying that I want to see you again, because that form was so beautiful, he wanted to see again. But then the Lord says that you cannot see me again. Now you engage in Bhakti Yoga and then you can realize me. So when one is in Ashtanga Yoga and one sees the Lord, and then one wants to continue seeing, and now one wants to serve. So beautiful, no? So you want to serve the Lord. So therefore one progresses from Ashtanga to Bhakti Yoga. Only through Bhakti Yoga we can realize the Bhagavan feature of the Lord.
Okay.
And then, of course, Narada Muni became, on the strength of his bhakti, then he became the great sage, Narada.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
anybody
you.
else has any other question? Okay, so let's try to see the definitions of these terms. So here is that yoga ladder, which we just now saw. Karma Kanda encourages regulated sense gratification, meant to bring general mass of people to the platform of religiosity. So here at least you're on the platform of religiosity. You're not breaking the rules and regulations. You're not leading a sinful life. So Karma Kanda will bring the people to the platform of religiosity, work within the framework of dharma. Then it purifies the practitioner in many ways. How does it purify the practitioner? Regulation brings detachment, which fosters knowledge. So, as we discuss, as we go higher, detachment is increasing and knowledge also is increasing. So, when we are regulating our senses, then it automatically brings detachment and increases knowledge because our faith in the Shastra is increasing. Gradually, Vedas expose him to Jnana and Upasana section. So the Vedas are divided into three sections: the Karma Kanda section, then the Jnana section, and the Upasana section. Upasana section is the Bhakti section. So it's the Vedas also give you knowledge in a progression, in a certain progression. Unfortunately, most people, they do not read the Vedas till the end. They only read the Karma Kanda section. They say, okay, agar ye chahiye, to ye karo, you want this, then you do that, So most of us are caught up in the Karma Kanda section. Most of human population are caught up in the Karma Kanda section. But if you read the Shastra till the end, then there is a progression, and in the end, in the Upasana section, then Bhakti Yoga is glorified. Results of Yajna gives him faith in the Shastras, motivates him to associate with Brahmanas who give higher knowledge. So this we have also discussed. Gradually, the practitioner finds the futility of material life and makes transcendence as his goal. So, futility of material life, he realizes, this practitioner of Karma Kanda, he realizes that, okay, he is doing these yagyas, he is getting something in return, but how long is that going to last? It is only going to last up to that particular lifetime. So therefore now he makes transcendence as his goal. Now because his knowledge is increasing, his faith in the Shastra increases. So his knowledge is increasing. And as he gets higher knowledge, he realizes that this Karma Kanda or even in Karma Kanda, there are two levels, higher and lower levels. In the lower levels, one is aspiring to get that which will last up to this lifetime, like having a good son or having material prosperity that will last only this lifetime. And a level higher than that is to be able to enjoy, but not only in this lifetime, but to enjoy for thousands of years. That is enjoyment in the heavenly planets, right? But again, as the knowledge increases, then he realizes that even enjoyment in the heavenly planets is going to come to an end at some point. And even in heavenly planets, there is anxiety, which we have discussed, right? So like this, step by step, his realization is increasing. Then coming to Sakama Karma Yoga, here he understands transcendence as the goal. So therefore the word yoga. So he is frustrated in material life and he desires purification. He tries to renounce the fruits of the labor, but the attachment to material desires still linger on. So still, although he wants to be detached, still he is not able to completely give up the desires, the material desires. He is still attached to the fruits of his work. Then next stage, Nishkama Karma Yoga. Here he gives up the attachment to the fruits of work, but he is still attached to the work itself, which we have also already discussed. Then next stage, Jnana Yoga, platform of philosophical inquiry. Here he is detached from both action and the fruit of action. So therefore here one should be in the renounced mentality, because here he is leaving home. So he's detached from both action and the fruit of the action, and he engages in philosophical inquiry. Then comes Ashtanga Yoga. Having achieved, Ashtanga Yoga is achieved when Jnana Yoga elevates to the point of meditation. So here in Ashtanga Yoga, the focus is on meditating on the super soul. Here the philosophical inquiry has ended here in Jnana Yoga. And now he has come to the point of meditating on the super soul. That is Ashtanga Yoga. Then the last stage, the Bhakti Yoga stage, can permeate any of the stages mentioned above other than Karma Kanda, which means Bhakti. So Bhakti is there in all these yoga systems except Karma Kanda. So Bhakti cannot permeate Karma Kanda, but Bhakti can permeate Sakama, Nishkama, Jnana, Ashtanga. So some tinge of Bhakti is here. As you go higher in this ladder, the bhakti is increasing more and more. And of course, at the last stage, at the Bhakti Yoga stage, then the devotional service or bhakti is at the maximum peak. So here in this chart, we have the same thing. And I've just put here, Karma Kanda, regulated sense gratification. Sakama, attached to fruits of work and work itself. Nishkama, detached from fruits of work but attached to work. Jnana Yoga, one realizes the Brahman feature of the Lord. Brahman is the growing effulgence of the personality of Godhead. Now he realizes the Sat feature. Now we have discussed Sat Chit Ananda, right? The Lord is Sat Chit Ananda, and so are the living entities. Each one of us, the spirit soul, is also Sat Chit Ananda. Now, what is Sat? Sat means eternality. Sat, eternal, never coming to an end. The soul never dies. The soul is never born. The Lord is not born. The Lord never dies. So, Sat means the eternality feature of the Lord. So, when one realizes the Brahman effulgence through Jnana Yoga, one realizes only the Sat feature. When one realizes the Paramatma through Ashtanga Yoga, one realizes the Sat and the Chit feature. Now, what is this Chit feature? Chit means knowledge. Knowledge that one is spirit soul. Knowledge that one is eternally the servant of Krishna. Knowledge that I am part and parcel of the Lord and I don't have any existence, and there is nothing in the world, nothing in the universe that can exist independent of the Lord. So that is Sat and Chit feature, Paramatma realization. But when one realizes Bhagavan through Bhakti Yoga, one realizes all the three features, Sat, Chit and Ananda feature. Ananda means complete bliss, complete happiness. In the spiritual world, the Ananda or happiness or bliss is ever increasing. There is, of course, there is no question of any anxiety in the spiritual world. But not only that there is no anxiety, is that bliss also is ever increasing. So it's not that you have come to the epitome of bliss and this is it and it cannot get any better. No. Even the bliss in the spiritual world is constantly increasing, ever increasing bliss. One experiences in the spiritual world. So one who realizes Bhagavan, he realizes the Sat Chit Ananda feature. Now, of course, there is a progression. Now, what we have been discussing is a progression from animalistic life up to Bhakti Yoga. Now, one may decide, because all of us have minute independence, right? We all have minute independence and the Lord does not interfere with our free will. A practitioner may decide to stop at any one of these rungs and stay at that rung. That is because a practitioner has his free will. The Lord is not going to force you. Nobody is going to force you. So one can progress or one can decide to stay at the rung at any point of time and not wanting to go ahead or not wanting to progress. Most of the human population are stuck here. Animalistic life, unrestricted sense gratification, meat eating, intoxication, illicit relationships, gambling. So here is where most of the human population is stuck because that's what they want. So a practitioner of Bhakti Yoga is called as a Bhakta or a devotee. And Ashtanga Yogi is called as Paramatma Vadi because he wants to realize the Paramatma. He is the one who meditates. And the Jnana one, the practitioner of Jnana Yoga, he is called as a Brahmavadi because his faith is in the Brahman effulgence. He does not believe in the Paramatma and the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. He only believes that God is the light. Here, the belief is God is the super soul. And here, the Bhakti Yogi, he knows that the Lord is all three. He is Brahman effulgence, as well as he is the Paramatma, as well as he is a person, as well as he is Bhagavan. A Paramatma Vadi realizes both Brahman and Paramatma. But a Brahmavadi realizes only the Brahman effulgence. So see this in the purport, Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains the difference between karmis, jnanis, yogis and bhaktas. One second, I want to remove this. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.19 in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, those who are on the path of self-realization are generally classified as karmis, jnanis, yogis or devotees of the Lord. The karmis who are much attracted by the fruitive activities of Vedic rituals are called bhukti kami, or those who desire material enjoyment. So the karmis are called bhukti kami because they desire material enjoyment. The jnanis who try to become one with the Supreme Lord by mental speculation are called mukti kami, or those who desire liberation from material existence. So, what does a jnana yogi want? His desire is, I want to get out of this material world. I'm totally frustrated. Nothing is giving me happiness. I'm not finding satisfaction in this material world. Even in the heavenly planets, there is anxiety. I don't want any more anxiety. I just want to get out of this material world. I just want mukti. Right? So a jnana yogi's desire is mukti. He desires liberation. Therefore, he is called as mukti kami. Now, next, the Ashtanga Yoga. The mystic yogis who practice different types of austerities for attainment of 8 kinds of material perfection and who ultimately meet the super soul, Paramatma, in trance are called Siddhi Kami, or those who desire the perfection of becoming finer than the finest, becoming heavier than the heaviest, getting everything desired, having control over everyone, creating everything liked, etc. All these are abilities of a powerful yogi. So these are the mystic powers, right? We discussed how an Ashtanga yogi, as he is progressing in his Ashtanga yoga, he develops some mystic powers. So those who are engaging in Ashtanga yoga, but with the desire to get the siddhis, with the desire to get those mystic powers, they are called as siddhi kamis. And these are some of the siddhas that Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport. Becoming finer than the finest, becoming heavier than the heaviest, getting everything desired. So whatever they want, they can produce in front of them. Having control over everyone. They can even tell you, you do this, and then the person will do exactly what is being told to him to do. So having control over everyone, creating everything liked. So like this, these are the mystic powers. So these are the abilities of a powerful yogi. So he is a Siddhi Kami. But the devotees of the Lord do not want anything like that for self-satisfaction. They only want to serve the Lord because the Lord is great, and as living entities, they are eternally subordinate parts and parcels of the Lord. So a devotee has no desire. All he wants is he wants to serve the Lord. So God is great. We are not great. Therefore, we have to serve the Lord. This perfect realization of the self by the devotee helps him to become desireless, a desire to desire nothing for his personal self, and thus the devotees are called nishkami, without any desire. So the karmis are called bhukti kami, the jnanis are called mukti kami, and the ashtanga yogis, they are called as siddhi kami. But a devotee is nishkami, without any desire. A living entity by his constitutional position cannot be void of all desires. The Bhukti Kami, Mukti Kami, and Siddhi Kami all desire something for personal satisfaction. But the Nishkami devotee of the Lord desires everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. So yes, a Nishkami devotee does desire, but what does he desire? He desires everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. He does not want anything for his own satisfaction, for his own sense gratification. See, this is what happened to Arjuna. At the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna came up with so many reasons to not to fight the war, but for his own satisfaction. He was not thinking about the satisfaction of Krishna, because what is going to satisfy Krishna is Arjuna fighting the war and doing his prescribed duty. Right. So Arjuna was coming up with so many reasons to not fight the war, but for his own satisfaction. But because he received this transcendental knowledge from Krishna, because he surrendered to Krishna, therefore he got this knowledge, and therefore now he has become desireless. Arjuna's desire is, okay, I will execute whatever you want me to do. So that is a Nishkami. That's a Bhakta devotee who is Nishkami. They are completely dependent on the orders of the Lord and are always ready to discharge their duty for the satisfaction of the Lord. So this is the difference between a bhakti yogi and any other yoga practitioner, a jnana yogi or Ashtanga yogi, he is trying to realize God on his own strength, on the strength of his own efforts. But a bhakti yogi is completely dependent upon the mercy of the Lord. So here you see this kitten here is being taken by the mother cat. And this baby monkey is holding on to the mother on its own strength. So which of these two children is more secure, will not fall down?
The cat.
The cat definitely will not fall down because the mother is not going to let go of her child. But here this little baby monkey is holding on to the mother on its own strength, but it has very little strength. It's only a baby monkey. So therefore there is more possibilities of this baby monkey falling down. So let's read this text. When one proceeds in a step-by-step fashion, his advancement is limited by his own capabilities. So here, the advancement in that yoga ladder is limited to one's own capabilities. But one who sets Krishna's service, But one who sets Krishna's service as his goal attains the mercy of Krishna and the Vaishnavas. They act as his support throughout his spiritual journey. So when one is engaged in bhakti yoga, then one gets the mercy of Krishna and one gets the mercy of the other devotees, other Vaishnavas. And by the blessings of the Lord and by the blessing of the Vaishnavas, then one can attain even the impossible. Bhakti can make mission impossible possible. The non-devotee faces these two difficulties. He may never understand that the highest rung of the yoga ladder is to attain Krishna's service, and he is limited by his own detachment, purity, and power to advance. So his advancement in the yoga ladder depends on his own detachment, on his own purity, and power to advance. Just like here, this baby monkey is holding on to the mother on its own power. He does not gain the assistance of Krishna's descending mercy. What do you mean by descending mercy? Because Krishna's mercy is coming to us through the disciplic succession. Krishna, our spiritual master is coming in the disciplic succession. A bona fide spiritual master is coming in a disciplic succession. So that is Krishna's descending mercy. The spiritual master is a representation, or the spiritual master is a representation of Krishna. So when one engages in service, then one gets the mercy of Krishna, one gets the mercy of the Vaishnavas, one gets the mercy of the spiritual master. So therefore one can attain even the impossible. See, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Sri Rupa Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ataiva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakala Ashanta. So because a Krishna Bhakta is Nishkama, he has no desires for himself, therefore he is Shanta, therefore he is peaceful. But the others who are Bhukti Kamis, Mukti Kamis and Siddhi Kamis, they are Ashanta. They cannot be peaceful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. See, translation. Because a devotee of Lord Krishna is desireless, he is peaceful. Fruitive workers desire material enjoyment. Jnanis desire liberation. And yogis desire material opulence. Therefore, they are all lusty and cannot be peaceful. Another very nice purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Although karmis, jnanis, and yogis fulfill their desires by performing various activities, they are never satisfied. A karmi may work very hard to acquire $1 million, but as soon as he gets $1 million, he desires another million. For the karmis, there is no end of desire. The more the karmi gets, the more he desires. The jnanis cannot be desireless because their intelligence is unsound. They want to merge into the Brahman effulgence, but even though they may be raised to that platform, they cannot be satisfied there. So the jnanis, they cannot be satisfied in the Brahman effulgence because it's the nature of the soul to engage in activity, and in the Brahman effulgence, you just exist. There is no activity to do. So although there is peace, but there is no satisfaction. So he cannot be satisfied there. There are many jnanis or sannyasis who, after taking sannyas and giving up the world as false, return to the world to engage in politics or philanthropy or to open schools and hospitals. So they have to come back. And then they may engage in these kind of activities, some social service, opening schools and schools. This means that they could not attain the real Brahman or Brahma Satyam. They have to come down to the material platform to engage in philanthropic activity. Thus, they again cultivate desires, and when these desires are exhausted, they desire something different. Therefore, the jnani cannot be nishkama, desireless, nor can the yogis be desireless, for they desire yogic perfection. Here, the yogi is referring to Ashtanga yogi. They desire yogic perfections in order to exhibit some magical feats and gain popularity. So we see, even now, there are many people who have some mystic powers. They can walk on land, they can transport themselves from one place to the other, they can change the form as they like, they can make themselves very, very light, they can make themselves so heavy that nobody can move them. They can make people follow their instructions just like that. So these are all mystic powers. So they
नहीं because मुझे भी हो जाना है ना 5 मेरे को
Okay,
भी सारा
Divya, you need to
स्टेशन का
mute.
काम खत्म करके फिर आना है we'll be there after by 8:45 8:45 will be there
Okay.
hello
Can somebody mute Divya?
hello
I don't see her on my. Okay. Okay, so they exhibit some magical feats and gain popular. So these people who have these mystic powers, they show some of their magic tricks and they become popular, and then they become famous and they can get followers also. People gather around these yogis, and the yogis desire more and more adulation. Because they misuse their mystic power, they fall down again to the material platform. It is not possible for them to become nishkama, desireless. The conclusion is that only the devotees who are simply satisfied in serving the Lord can actually become desireless. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says here, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama. Since the Krishna Bhakta, the devotee of Krishna, is satisfied with Krishna, there is no possibility of fall down. Does anybody have any question? See here, we have the picture of the 14 planetary systems. This is one universe. There are millions of such universes. This is one universe. Within this one universe, we have 14 planetary systems. So Srila Prabhupada explains here in this purport the different kinds of mystic powers. There are 8 principal mystic powers, and there are other secondary mystic powers as well. But here we will only discuss the principal ones. In the upper status of the planetary systems, there are facilities thousands and thousands of times greater for material enjoyment than in the lower planetary system. The topmost planetary system consists of planets like Brahma Loka and Dhruva Loka, the pole star, and all of them are situated beyond Mahar Loka. So you can see Mahar Loka is here. We are here in the middle. So these are the higher planetary systems. The inhabitants of those planets are empowered with 8-fold achievements of mystic perfection. So as we discussed, there are 8 principal siddhis, Ashta siddhis. They do not have to learn and practice the mystic processes of yoga perfection and achieve the power of being small like a particle, Anima siddhi. So this is 1. Or lighter than the soft feather, Lagima siddhi. 2. They do not have to get anything and everything from anywhere and everywhere, Prapti siddhi. To become heavier than the heaviest, Mahima siddhi. To act freely, even to create something wonderful or to annihilate anything at will, Ishitva siddhi. To control all material elements, Vashitva siddhi. To possess such power as will never be frustrated in any desire, Prakamya siddhi. Or to assume any shape or form one may even whimsically desire, Kama Vasayita siddhi. So these are the 8 principal mystic powers. All these expediencies are as common as natural gifts for the inhabitants of those higher planets. So this is very, very natural for those who are residing here. They have it there. So if one is residing in this planet for many, many, many years, right, and then he comes and takes birth again here on Earth planet, then he can still exhibit some of those mystic powers to some extent. May not be in full capacity, but some traces are still there. So this is what happens, and then they misuse the mystic powers, they misguide the people, they have followers, and even the poor people, they are misguided. They think they are God. They are not God. They are only siddhas.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Okay, from this slide, from the higher planets, how will one fall and come to Bhuloka?
How will one fall and come to Bhuloka?
Like,
yeah, because you can enjoy here only for as long as your credits last. No, if you do punya karmas, then you can take birth in the higher planetary system, and as long as the credits last, till then you are allowed to stay there, and then you have to come back again, take birth again.
okay, so once you take birth, is it guaranteed that you will come to Bhuloka, or you can go to lower planets as well?
Oh, you can go anywhere in the lower planets, higher planets, but the point is only, see, the point is, here you have accumulated karma in the earthly planet. In the higher and lower, you're only exhausting them. So if you have bad karmas, then you have to exhaust that in the lower planet system. And if you have good karmas, then you can enjoy that in the higher planet system. So that will, at some point, it will end. You're bad or good, it will end at some point, because here you cannot accumulate karmas. So once you have finished your punishment period in the lower ones, or you have finished your enjoyment period in the higher ones, then you have to come here only, where you will go, because you're not qualified for spiritual world. So therefore you have to come here only. So after here, maybe you can go down if you have some bad karmas. You can go even higher if you have good karmas. But another important point is, if you engage in devotional service in any one of these 14 planetary systems, then from there you can even go to the spiritual world. But again, it is, of course, it is possible, but it is not very probable for one to engage in devotional service in these higher planetary systems, because the greater probability is that, for example, if you're in Swarga and you have unlimited facility to enjoy, when one has so much opulence and so much enjoyment, one tends to forget Krishna. One does not engage in devotional activity. And here, when there is extreme suffering also, there's so much suffering. There also, it's very difficult to engage in bhakti. So it is possible, because for bhakti, bhakti is far from, it is beyond time, place, and circumstances. One can engage in bhakti anywhere, and under any circumstances, at any time, anywhere, and under any circumstances, right? But although it is possible, it is not so probable. That's the point. So the greater probability is that once his credits have exhausted in the higher and lower, and he is not engaged in bhakti, then he has to come here only to accumulate more, good or bad, or engage in devotional service. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. So yes, it does. So one more thing. So from higher planets, you will only come to the Earth to take. You cannot go to lower planets, right? You will just come to take birth again on Earth.
Not necessarily. Maybe the person, now that is relative. That you cannot say for sure that, say, somebody has done some good and some bad. It's not that how much, if I have 10 plus points and I have 8 minus points, then 2 plus points I enjoy in heaven and that's it. No, it's not like that. I have to enjoy the 10 plus, and I also have to enjoy the minus 8. Both have to be done. So maybe first I'm sent up and then I go down, or maybe first I'm sent down and then I go up. That can change. It cannot be fixed up. So if I have 10 plus, then I enjoy my 10 plus here, and I still have minus 8. I have done some bad karmas. Then again, I have to suffer those minus 8 in the lower planetary systems, and then I can come to Earth planet. There is no, at least I have not come across any Shastric quote that says that first you are allowed to enjoy and then you can suffer.
Meaning, so you just said first you enjoy, then you haven't seen. That confused me.
No, but it can happen either way. Sometimes probably, see, because in the case of Jay and Vijay, they were given a choice. They were given a choice. What you want? You want to live 3 lifetimes as devotees? Or you want to live 7 lifetimes? No, 3 lifetimes as demons or 7 lifetimes as devotees. So they chose, they were given a choice and they chose that, okay, I want to come back again. I want to be reinstated in as the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha. So they chose to come to take birth, to take 3 births as in the demon family. So it's relative. You cannot say for sure that first, I mean, the sequence is not fixed up.
Okay.
It may be either way, or probably even you have a choice. Who knows?
Okay, so one more thing. So the 8.5 lakh species that we take birth, and after that we get one human birth. Does that fit in anywhere here?
Yeah, human birth is here on Earth planet. There are 400,000 human bodies. Not one human, but there are 400,000 different kinds of human bodies also across different universes. Not only this universe. There are millions of such universes.
नहीं वो जो कहते हैं ना 84 लाख के बाद आपको एक जन्म इंसान का मिलता है तो I was trying to I was asking so after being in the lower planets or the higher planets before you come to Earth you have to go through that as well of species of birth
8,400,000 different kinds of life forms are there. Out of that, 400,000 are human bodies.
okay okay
So that human body you can get in any universe, across all universes.
okay okay Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any more questions?
I had a question about Ajamil, this planetary systems that you were showing on the screen, and Ajamil, like if he hadn't chanted the Narayan's name at the end of his lifetime, he would have gone to the lower planetary system, and then he would have to move upward. And
He
because
was,
he chanted the name of Narayan, he went upward, right?
see, in Ajamila's story, he was headed to first of all go to Pitraloka, because Pitraloka is where the court is, where Yamaraj passes his judgment, and the Yamadutas had come to take Ajamila, and he was headed to see the face of Yamaraj so that the judgment is passed. Now, of course, he had lived a sinful life, so he would have had to suffer in the hellish planets. But before he married that prostitute and his whole fall down happened, he lived his life as a Brahmana also before that, initially, the initial years, because he was born in a Brahmin family and he followed Brahmanical lifetime until he saw the prostitute being embraced and when he had gone to pluck the flowers. So he had some punya karmas as well, and he had some papa as well. So punya karmas we enjoy in heaven, and pap we have to suffer in hell. So he had little some plus and some minus.
So you're saying a devotee also have to go to Pitalok after he's dead, and if he does bad karma, some good karma, if he has some.
So devotee, see, devotee means now when you say devotee, you say a bhakta, and then you say he's doing bad karmas. How can a devotee do bad karma? And if one is doing bad karma, how he's a devotee? You can do bad karmas unknowingly, but not knowingly. If somebody is doing bad karma knowingly, then how can he be a devotee? Then he's only a pretender. He pretends to be a devotee, but he's not a devotee.
Mataji, I think you answered my question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shivani?
Yeah, one more question. So just now when she was asking about devotee, what about people who have done maybe sinful activities or unknowingly bad karma before coming to Krishna consciousness? What happens to them?
Okay, so when you surrender to Krishna, when you surrender to Guru, your slate is wiped clean. Everything past, washed out, washed away. Just like that, in a flash. Everything is gone.
Okay. But what about Mataji for people who are not initiated, who are in this process, and they don't know if they will get initiated in this lifetime or not? What happens to their karma?
So you pray to the Lord, you chant the holy name, you pray to Srila Prabhupada, and don't think that you will not take initiation this lifetime. Why? You pray, I mean, even I said, no, bhakti can make mission impossible possible. You chant your rounds, you pray to the Lord, my dear Lord Krishna, please help me find my bona fide spiritual master in this lifetime. Make that your only prayer, and you see how Krishna will reciprocate. Krishna is the master magician. He can change things for you.
Thank you.
Mataji, didn't Prabhupada says one word or one sentence read from my book, I already have initiated them. Now they're just waiting for the initiation of that from the guru that I sent.
I don't know about that quote. But if that quote is there, then what's wrong in it?
Oh, for Mataji,
Because
she
see,
said,
Srila Prabhupada, wait. Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for anybody who's joining ISKCON. He is a preeminent Shiksha Guru, but not the Diksha Guru. Because Diksha we have to take from somebody who is alive. We cannot say that Srila Prabhupada is our Diksha Guru, because we don't know if Prabhupada is accepting us. The Guru also has to accept the disciple. So he is our Shiksha Guru, but he cannot be our Diksha Guru. Diksha we have to take from a living, spiritual, bona fide master.
Shri Harirala Mataji, if you said that that's a quote, please share where and in which book or where you have
I
seen it
don't have
already.
the quote. I just heard it from Prabhupada disciples.
And many things that Prabhupada would say in a lecture, we have to also understand the context in which it is said. So if you just take something out of context and then you only say one line, but then it's also important to understand the before and after, in what context it is said.
Okay,
Yes,
okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, now coming to progressive yoga ladder. We saw this this yoga ladder. Oh my God. Looks like here. This yoga ladder is the extended yoga ladder, okay? But one doesn't have to go through this step by step by step. It's going to take millions and millions and millions of lifetimes. If we are going to take this yoga ladder, go through Karma Kanda, Sakama, Nishkama, then Jnana Yoga, then Ashtanga Yoga, and then come to Bhakti Yoga, it's going to take millions and trillions of lifetimes, okay? But there is something called as progressive yoga ladder. This Krishna talks about in chapter 3, verse number 30. He says, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. So do your duty, free from lethargy, fight. Fight, free from lethargy means not in ignorance, with knowledge, with full knowledge. So here, yes, Nishkama Karma Yoga, you're not attached to the fruits. It's not just that you're not attached to the fruits, but here you want Krishna saying, surrender your works unto me. So don't just be detached from the fruits, but give the work to me, give the fruits to me, dedicate it to me, Krishna says. So here, Nishkama Karma Yoga is sadhana bhakti. So therefore, from here, you can go directly to the stage of bhakti yoga. If you're not only detached, but you're giving the fruits to Krishna, then you are on the stage of sadhana bhakti. You're practicing bhakti. That Nishkama Karma Yoga is now becoming come to the level that you're practicing bhakti. So that sadhana bhakti will lead to bhav. Bhav means feelings, right? Some feelings are developed. And then it leads to prema bhakti, or spontaneous love for the Lord, which is the highest rung of the bhakti yoga. Sadhana bhakti, then bhava bhakti, then prema bhakti. For example, in Nishkama Karma Yoga, let's say there is some attachment, right? Let's say somebody loves to eat gulab jamuns. He loves gulab jamuns, so therefore he prepares the gulab jamuns and then he offers it to the Lord. So there is some desire that I like the gulab jamun, therefore I am preparing gulab jamun. Not that I am preparing gulab jamun because Krishna likes to eat gulab jamuns. No, I like to eat, today I feel like eating gulab jamun, so I prepare gulab jamuns, but I am offering it to the Lord. So that is sadhana. I am practicing. I have been taught that I have to offer the food. So therefore I am engaging in sadhana and I offer it to Krishna and then I enjoy those gulab jamuns, right? So that is sadhana. Now, as I do this, let's say every day I am preparing gulab jamuns because I like gulab jamuns, but I'm offering it, no? So every day I'm doing this. And as I do this over a period of time, what happens? Will my love for gulab jamun increase or my love for the Lord will increase? What is going to increase?
My love for the Lord will increase.
My love for the Lord will increase. So like that, from sadhana bhakti, we can increase our feelings, no, bhav for the Lord, and then we come to the stage of prema, spontaneous love for the Lord. So this is a progressive yoga ladder. Shivani, your hand is raised. Do you have another question or you just didn't put it down?
Madhuri, can you go back to that one slide just now that you did?
This?
Yeah, this one. So, okay, Nishkam Karma Yoga, Sadhana Bhakti. So, what about the other one, the Sakam Karma Yoga? Okay, so this is the topmost.
Yeah, this is the
Nishkam.
progression. This is a progression in a progressive yoga ladder.
Okay, got it. Sorry. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in addition to the step-by-step process, what takes place when either from the beginning of one's practices or on any rung of the ladder, one attains the association of a devotee and comes to accept Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead and oneself as Krishna's servant. Srila Prabhupada describes this relationship to Maharaj Parikshit's meeting with Sukadeva Goswami in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, we are going to see a third yoga ladder. Okay. Translation of this particular verse. O great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus firmly fixed himself in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me. Now, what is the background? Let me explain a little bit of background. Maharaj Parikshit is the son of Abhimanyu, the grandson of Arjuna, and he's a king, right? And he's the king, and therefore he's engaged in all sorts of fruitive activities, namely Dharma, Artha, Kama. So Vedas have 4 subject matters: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So Dharma means material religiosity, Karma Kanda. So therefore now, because Maharaj Parikshit is the king, and he's the king of the whole planet, he is engaged in dharma, artha, economic development, and kama, sense gratificatory activities. But it so happened that once he was cursed to die within 7 days. Now, when he was cursed to die within 7 days, he went in search of the absolute truth. He comes across Sukadeva Goswami, who is the son of Vyasadeva, and then Maharaj Parikshit is making enquiries about the goal of human life and so many other things, and therefore there is a 7-day conversation between the two, and that conversation is nothing but the Srimad Bhagavatam. So here we see how Maharaj Parikshit was initially engaged in dharma, artha, kama, religion, economic development, and sense gratification, but then later, because of his association with Sukadeva Goswami, immediately he came to the platform of bhakti, immediately he came to the platform of devotional service. So Maharaj Parikshit has not gone through Sakama, Nishkama, Jnana, Ashtanga, and then he has not come to the level of Bhakti Yoga. Because of his association with Sukadeva Goswami, immediately he has come to the level of Bhakti Yoga. In the purport, as a great emperor of the world, Maharaj Parikshit had to observe such regulations of the Vedic Karma Kandya section. But by his slight association with Sukadeva Goswami, he could perfectly understand that Lord Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, Vasudev, for whom he had a natural love since his birth, is everything, and thus he fixed his mind firmly upon him, renouncing all modes of Vedic karma kandya activities. So because of his association with Sukadeva Goswami, immediately he was able to give up his karma kanda activities. So he's not gone through that yoga ladder, which we have seen previously. This perfectional stage is attained by a jnani after many, many births. The jnanis, or the empiric philosophers endeavoring for liberation, are thousands of times better than the fruitive workers. So the jnanis are thousands of times better than the karma kandis. And out of hundreds of thousands of such jnanis, one is liberated factually. So out of hundreds of thousands of such jnanis, or those who are practicing jnana yoga, one can be liberated. Because it's not easy. Jnana yoga process is not so easy, not so fast. And then out of hundreds of thousands of such liberated persons, even one person is rarely found who can firmly fix his mind unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, as declared by the Lord himself in the Bhagavad Gita. We will see this verse when we go to chapter number 7. So see, how rare is a devotee, how rare is a bhakta. If one is following the progressive yoga ladder, very rare, the rarest of the rare can come to that, can cross all these stages after so many trillions of births and then come to bhakti yoga. But there is something called as the express elevator. What is that express elevator of bhakti yoga? Surrender and association of pure devotees. That's all. From animalistic life, if you just surrender and associate with a pure devotee, immediately you can take to sadhana bhakti. He will teach you, the pure devotee, the spiritual master, or the Vaishnavas will teach you how to engage in sadhana. So as we engage in this, in devotional practices, then again we develop bhav and we come to the level of prema bhakti. So this is the express elevator of bhakti yoga. This does not require lifetimes. This can be achieved in this very lifetime. Immediately from animal life, if you surrender to a devotee, immediately you can take to the practice of bhakti yoga and you can go back home, back to Godhead in this very lifetime. So this is the express elevator of bhakti yoga. And this is what Prabhupada's disciples, they realized, no, because when Prabhupada went to the West, everybody was so much engaged in meat eating, intoxication, all these hippies and all, they were so much engaged in illicit relationships, gambling. So, but because they surrendered to Srila Prabhupada, they were able to take to sadhana, bhava, bhakti, prema bhakti, come to the level of prema bhakti. And then now they have become stalwart Vaishnavas. So whatever past they did, everything is gone, everything is wiped out. So I actually intended to do the recap of the 6 chapters and the yoga ladder, but time did not permit. So we will stop here. I hope that the yoga ladder is now clear. In the next class, we will summarize the 6 chapters and we will see if we can start with chapter number 7, depending on the time factor. We will see how it goes. Otherwise, we will just summarize the 6 chapters in the next class and then start chapter number 7 after that. We will see how it goes. Does anybody have any question?
No. It's perfectly right.
Okay. Today is the disappearance day of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is the spiritual master of our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is known as the Lion Guru. Lion. Why? Because he would preach completely fearlessly. He never was afraid to speak the truth. And during his time, there were many Mayavadi philosophers who would preach the Mayavad philosophy. And they were all actually very afraid of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur because he was such an expert in Shastra. He was actually a walking encyclopedia of Shastra. He would quote from the different Shastras and he would easily defeat all these other bogus philosophies. And I was hearing in another lecture that how once there was a meeting of different philosophers and they invited Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur for this debate. But they told him that you should not quote from any book, except they gave him some 2 or 3 books, and they said you should quote only from these 2 or 3 books. You're not allowed to quote Shastra from any other book. So he said, okay, I agree. I have no problem. I can participate in the debate like that. And then again they contacted him after some time, and they said, no, but you cannot use even 2-3 books. You can use only this one particular book for that debate. They were so afraid of him. So he said, okay, no problem. I can use that one book and I can quote from that and I can defeat other philosophies. And then eventually they contacted him and they said, you please don't come. So he was so, people were so afraid of him because he would very easily quote from the Shastras and defeat other bogus philosophies. He was called as the Lion Guru. And it was he who instructed Srila Prabhupada in the very first meeting. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, when he was a grihastha, he had a pharmaceutical business. He had his wife, his children. And one of his friends told him that let's go and meet. There is a saintly person who is in town. At that time, Srila Prabhupada said that, no, I'm busy in my business and I cannot go. But the friend insisted that, no, let's go. And then his friend Narendra took Srila Prabhupada. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was Abhay. He was not Srila Prabhupada. He was Abhay. He was living his grihastha life. And so Narendra took Abhay to hear this discourse by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And in the very first meeting, just imagine, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur doesn't know who is Abhay, right? Abhay has just arrived there, and with many other people, he's also seated there in the audience. He's come to listen to the class, come to listen to the discourse. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as soon as he sees Abhay, he tells him that, I want you to preach in the West, in the English language. So it's like, he doesn't know who he is. He has just arrived, and immediately he's giving him an instruction. He's not even his disciple, right? But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had that vision to see that, yes, this is the person who can achieve this impossible task. And this one instruction Srila Prabhupada had in his heart. And 40 years later, he traveled to the West and he spread this message of Krishna in the Western world. So we should be very grateful to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who gave this instruction to Srila Prabhupada, and then Srila Prabhupada made that instruction his life and soul. Okay, so on that note, we'll end today's class. Thank you very much for joining. Hope to see you next week, if Krishna so sanctions. Till then, have a nice week in Krishna consciousness.
So Mataji, do we
Thank
fast?
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. What's up, Shivansh?
Do we fast till 12 today?
Yes, there was fasting till 12 noon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Vancha kalpataruvyascha kripa sindhu vyayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srimad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.